What if the most charismatic person you've ever met wasn't trying to impress anyone at all? Think about that for a second. We've all met someone who walks into a room and somehow changes the atmosphere without raising their voice, telling jokes, or showing off. People naturally turn toward them. Conversations seem easier around them. Even strangers feel comfortable opening up. Now here's the surprising part. Psychology suggests charisma isn't a personality type. It's a collection of behaviors that make other people feel seen, safe, and important. And that's good news. Because becoming more charismatic doesn't require becoming someone else. It doesn't mean pretending to be louder, funnier, or more confident than you actually are. In fact, trying too hard is often what destroys charisma. The real secret is much more subtle. And once you notice it, you'll start seeing it everywhere. Imagine you're at a gathering. One person dominates every conversation, constantly talking about their achievements. Another person speaks less, but whenever they ask you a question, you feel like they genuinely care about your answer. Who do you remember? For most people, it's the second person. Here's what most people miss. Charisma isn't about making yourself unforgettable. It's about making other people feel unforgettable. Behavioral researchers have long found that people remember how interactions made them feel more vividly than the exact words that were spoken. When someone feels understood, their brain associates that positive emotion with the person they're talking to. Have you ever left a conversation thinking, "I don't know why, but I really liked them"? That's often why. The first habit of charismatic people is surprisingly simple. They focus less on performing and more on paying attention. But attention alone isn't enough. There's another invisible habit that changes everything. Think back to your last conversation. Were you really listening, or were you quietly waiting for your turn to speak? Most of us don't notice we're doing it. Our brains naturally prepare responses while the other person is still talking. Psychologists call this conversational planning, and while it's completely normal, it often prevents genuine connection. Charismatic people slow this process down. Former FBI behavioral expert Joe Navarro has often emphasized that genuine curiosity is reflected in our nonverbal behavior. When someone is truly engaged, their body naturally leans in slightly, maintains comfortable eye contact, and reacts authentically instead of mechanically. Notice the word comfortable, not staring, not copying every movement, just showing with your body that you're mentally present. Have you ever told someone something important, only to realize halfway through that they were distracted? You probably remembered that feeling far longer than the conversation itself. Now imagine giving someone your complete attention for just 2 minutes. That alone can make you appear dramatically more charismatic. But presence becomes even more powerful when combined with something almost everyone misunderstands: confidence. Many people believe charisma comes from looking dominant, standing taller, talking louder, taking up more space. But here's the twist. Confidence and intimidation aren't the same thing. Research on social perception consistently suggests that people are drawn toward individuals who display both competence and warmth, not competence alone. Imagine 2 managers. One enters the meeting speaking over everyone else. The other walks in calmly, listens first, speaks clearly, and acknowledges other people's ideas before offering their own. Who feels safer to approach? Who seems more trustworthy? Real confidence doesn't need constant proof. In fact, people who constantly advertise their confidence may actually be trying to convince themselves. Maybe you've noticed this before. The loudest person in the room isn't always the most secure. Sometimes they're the most anxious about how they're being perceived. Truly charismatic people don't chase attention. Attention follows them because they're emotionally steady. And emotional steadiness reveals itself through one tiny behavior that changes every interaction: your reactions. Imagine a friend tells you exciting news. Do you immediately redirect the conversation back to yourself? Or do you celebrate their success first? Psychologists sometimes refer to this as active constructive responding. Studies have found that relationships become stronger when people respond enthusiastically to others' positive experiences instead of minimizing them or changing the subject. It's a small habit, but its impact is enormous. People naturally enjoy being around those who make them feel emotionally bigger instead of smaller. This also explains why some incredibly intelligent people struggle socially. Knowledge impresses people. Validation connects them, and connection almost always wins. But here's where many people accidentally sabotage their charisma without realizing it. They're trying too hard to avoid silence. Have you ever rushed to fill an awkward pause? Almost everyone has. Silence makes us uncomfortable because our brains often interpret uncertainty as social danger. But charismatic communicators understand something different. A brief pause isn't necessarily awkward. Sometimes it's respectful. It gives people room to think, room to feel heard, room to contribute. Daniel Kahneman's work on thinking suggests our brains operate through both fast and slower modes of processing. Giving someone an extra second before responding often allows for more thoughtful conversation rather than automatic reactions. Notice skilled interviewers. Notice respected leaders. Notice people you naturally trust. They rarely rush. Their pace communicates confidence. Their calmness becomes contagious. And that's because emotions spread more easily than most people realize. Have you ever walked into a room where everyone seemed stressed, and within minutes, you felt stressed too? That's emotional contagion. Human beings constantly influence one another through facial expressions, vocal tone, posture, and countless subtle signals. Research by psychologist Paul Ekman helped demonstrate that facial expressions communicate emotions remarkably quickly across many cultures. But one expression alone doesn't tell the whole story. The most accurate understanding comes from looking at clusters of behaviors and the surrounding context. That's important. Body language is never mind reading. Someone crossing their arms might be cold, or tired, or simply comfortable. Context always matters. Charismatic people understand this better than anyone. Instead of making snap judgments, they become curious. Instead of assuming, they observe. Instead of reacting immediately, they look for patterns. That mindset alone makes them better listeners, better friends, and better leaders. There's one final habit that quietly ties everything together: authenticity. You've probably heard the advice, just be yourself. The problem is, that's incomplete. If you're anxious, being yourself can simply mean broadcasting your anxiety. Authenticity isn't about expressing every thought or emotion exactly as it appears. It's about expressing your values consistently. If kindness matters to you, let people feel it. If curiosity matters, ask better questions. If respect matters, show it in your attention. People trust consistency more than perfection, and trust is one of the foundations of genuine charisma. The most magnetic people aren't flawless. They simply make others feel accepted without pretending to be someone they're not. So the next time you walk into a meeting, a family dinner, a first date, or even a casual conversation with a stranger, don't ask yourself, how can I seem more interesting? Ask yourself something much more powerful. How can I help the other person feel understood? That single shift changes your eye contact, your listening, your confidence, your presence. And over time, it changes how people remember you. Because real charisma isn't about becoming the loudest person in the room. It's about becoming the person others genuinely enjoy being around. Observe these behaviors with curiosity rather than certainty. Body language and communication are about patterns, context, and empathy, not shortcuts to reading someone's mind. If you've ever experienced one of these situations, let us know in the comments. Which insight surprised you the most? And if you want to better understand people and strengthen your social intelligence, subscribe for more psychology and body language insights.